That's what I meant to say. What? I'm not bitter. Rascals, what's happening? Hey guys, what's going on? Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to a sit down. Today I've decided to talk things first year experience, my views on it when I went through the whole shebang, and I wanted to get your opinion. Essentially, I wanted to know what you wanted me to talk about, or if you had any questions. So I put up on my Instagram a little questions tab type of thing and told you guys to drop down below any questions or topics that you have for me to talk about / answer, and you guys did, so thank you so much for participating. I really enjoyed reading through your questions and topics. If you do not want to miss out on such things, please make sure you follow my Instagram. Shameless plug. So to get us started, I feel like I should give you guys like basic information that you should know about me before I tell you my experiences with all of this stuff. Okay, firstly, I go to Wits University. Secondly, I finished my first year at the end of last year. I stayed on campus, I stayed at Res, and I study film and television. I think those are some of the more generic questions that I got in the questions tab on IG, so that's out of the way. You kind of know the context now. So everything I tell you, everything I ramble on about, answer, talk about is literally from my point of view, how I experienced things, how I went through things, all of that. Let's get into it. Did you know straight away that you were going to Wits? No, I didn't. I had applied to multiple universities before deciding on where to go to. Funny enough, story time. Why did I make it dramatic? All of my answers came back on the same day. So there were 3 main universities that I wanted to go to. That was Wits, UCT, and UP. And I got all answers back from all of them on the same day. So it was like, oh my gosh, what? But a feeling told me. Not a feeling, essentially. Also, part of me just didn't want to like move too far from home. So I just felt like it was good and right for me. I just felt comfortable with going to Wits, you know. It just felt right. So I didn't know right away because I had other options. I was waiting for responses from other universities, but Wits felt like the best option for me and my state, my comfortability, you know. Not bad for the first question. Papa of Queen. How was it moving from home? I kind of covered some of these topics in my 1-month university update, but I will elaborate a bit on that topic because I did talk about this one in that video. Go check that video out if you haven't already. So moving from home was kind of a tricky thing for me because like I've said multiple times, it was difficult moving from my safe space, and then adjusting for me has always been like kind of a problem. It takes longer than I wanted to. It was kind of an issue because I was getting used to something very brand new. Fair enough. But also I felt bad over the fact that I felt bad because it's not like my family is in like another province, like they were like here. So it was just a lot of emotional, chaotic things going on in my head, and just getting used to being around so many people and sharing your space and things like that. It was just difficult, but it worked out. As soon as things were finally becoming like good, like my routines were becoming set and normal, pandemic happened. But I did get that chance. I did get that feeling of like finally being okay with where I was and how things were turning out, how things were happening, things like that. But I must say the beginning process of it all was quite difficult for me personally because I'm so attached to my family and being in my own comfortable, safe space, which is completely fair. I now know that there was no need for me to beat myself up over that. Moral of the story, it worked out. Things became, what's the word, good, comfortable, manageable at the end of the day. Was it a struggle to decide whether to commute or commit to res life? Funny enough, no, because my family, or my parents and I had been obviously talking about varsity while it was like leading up to the whole change and starting varsity, the whole thing. And while we had been talking about it, there wasn't like question about whether I was gonna stay here or move to res. I think it was like kind of already set, like, oh no, you're going to live in res, you know. I think it was the best option because firstly it was convenient, but I'll elaborate more just now on that. I feel like being here, like commuting back and forth, wasn't, I don't know, gonna give me the so-called experience of like being at varsity, if that makes any sense. I hope I'm making sense. It makes sense in my head. No, it wasn't a difficult decision. I think from the get-go we had already known that, oh no, Refuwe's moving to Res, like she's gonna go stay at Res. How were your first few nights away from home? I'm gonna have to try to remember all of these things. It feels like years ago, but it was literally exactly a year ago. Anyway, my first few nights, I think I didn't like struggle sleeping or felt uncomfortable or anything like that, because, was that English or anything like that? Because we were so busy with like week activities, and we were just constantly busy throughout the day, so that at the end of the day we were all like tired. There was nothing that made me feel uncomfortable about being at Res from that beginning stage, but as soon as we were leading up to starting like actual school and like ending week activities, orientation week for those people that don't know, as soon as those things were coming to an end and school was becoming like a reality, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to do this by myself, my father's not nearby. Like I had like those episodes every now and then, but like I said, like through time that all went away and I was like figuring things out and it became manageable. What did you need to bring to Res? For new first years, what should we bring to Res that you forgot to bring? Okay, that's a good question. I'm probably the worst person to ask, because I feel like every week I was bringing something home. You know, I mean, as home as in back to Res. Like weekends when I would come back here, I feel like I was always bringing something back to Res. Why is the first thing I'm thinking of an iron? An iron is convenient for when you want to iron your clothes for the next day. An iron is convenient. Storage boxes. Nothing gigantic or huge, because res rooms are not this like lavish apartment style or size thing. It's literally like room. You know, so nothing drastic like that, but like storage boxes to put on your shelf or in your cupboards or something, to store little things. Like I could have used, this is something I forgot, I didn't get storage boxes, which I now realize, looking back at my res vlogs even, and I realize I could have used them for like my snacks on my shelf, because that just looks so unorganized and messy. So what, an iron, storage boxes, a lamp. If there is anything else, I'll probably leave it in the description, in the comments or something, but right now I can only think of those 3 things. My mom is probably gonna kill me because she helped me so much during that process, and she's probably gonna be like, I taught you so much, I told you so many things. I just can't remember them right now, I'm so sorry. How did you make friends during your first semester? Making friends, I was fortunate enough to know people already that were going to Res, just a handful of people, and I was so lucky to have those friends with me, or know those people in general, because it actually helped the process. Like seeing familiar faces and just knowing that there are people that you already know there helped a lot. So I was fortunate in that department. And then I think it fully starts through your courses. I think that's a good place to start. The people that are in your lectures, doing the same course as you, it's a great place to start, because in terms of help, in terms of figuring things out, and to be honest, you're always going to be seeing them, so that's a good place to start with the people that you are most likely going to be around a lot. I say that as if it's easy. I'm the last person to be suggesting such, because I don't do it myself. I was just lucky enough to know people. You don't have to force anything as well. Like, take it slow. You don't have to know a bunch of people like first week. Like, take it easy. Things will figure themselves out. People will meet you, you will meet people. It's Gucci. Did you ever feel out of place or like you didn't belong? I did, but that was purely in an academic sense, because when we were doing like introductory lectures per se, they weren't really lectures, they were just us getting to know our lecturers and getting to know the course as a whole. I was intimidated by the people in my course, in my lecture room, whatever, because of how smart they sounded. Like, where am I? It just felt like a lot at the time, because it was all brand new. Like, everything or anything concerning something new or a new experience is going to feel overwhelming or intimidating in some sort of way. Maybe not for everyone, but that's what it felt like for me. So yes, there was a part of me that was like, I don't know if I'm smart enough for this. I also didn't mention this in my 1 month update video, but I snapped out of that really quickly, because I had to realize that I'm here to get my degree, and there's no time to be thinking about other people and how far they are. It's gonna waste my time and take away from what I need to get done. So yes, that feeling happened, passed, you know. All you need to remember is chase your bag. That's what you're here for. This is easier said than done, obviously, because I've passed it. It's normal and you do not need to beat yourself up over it. And even if things do feel strange or scary or lonely, it's temporary. It won't last forever. How was the transition from high school to university? There was a question also that asked this same type of question, but like academically. So how was the change academically from high school to university? That is a good question. These are all good questions, goodness. Oh my gosh, obviously it felt like you were thrown in a ocean with lots of fish. Everything was just bigger. Everything was just bigger, and you were like thrown into this world where you had to carry yourself, do things by yourself, you know. And it's not like it's completely different from high school, but in a sense it's like a bigger high school. Oh, how am I gonna phrase this? It's not high school in a sense that there's a schedule that you need. This is good, yeah, that's the one. It's not high school in a sense that there's a schedule that you need to follow. Like sure, yeah, classes, but like everyone is doing their own thing, and you kind of like have that freedom to do your own thing. Whereas in high school you're like, oh, the bell rings, you have to go to class, you know. It's just high school on a bigger scale, if that makes any sense. I think that's the best way I can put it, because I'm struggling to find the words. In terms of academics, I was gonna lie and say it was easier. Okay, it wasn't easier because the workload did feel like a lot. Like obviously you were going through the most in terms of course showing us, but it was more interesting because it's something that I actually want to do. So it's not like subjects that I have no care for. Sometimes you don't care for those things, but now I'm studying story structures, film structures, all of this cool stuff that I've been interested in for a little bit now, and it's interesting stuff. So I'm kind of like more willing to do the work now, even though it is a lot and there's always a struggle. Okay, there's a lot. Like don't get me wrong and phrase this in a way that says, oh no, she's good. Like I go through the motions. But there's one last piece that I want to add about the high school uni transition thing. You know what it feels like? It feels like matric. It feels like matric, like that ending bit of matric where like you're going to classes but like this thing's happening, you know. That's exactly what it feels like. Yeah, that's the best way I could put it. Do you prefer living at res while studying or at home? I can now fully say 100% I prefer living at res while studying than at home, because the commute would be like long. Yeah, and every day back and forth would be quite a lot. So being at res, it's so convenient, especially on the side of campus that I'm on. My classes are literally all there. Like, everything is there. It's so convenient. So I definitely prefer living at res because of how convenient it is. Is your degree in film what you expected it to be? When I read this question, I was like, what did I expect it to be? I kind of didn't know what I was getting myself into. Sure, there was like a brief of what I'd be studying and things like that, but other than that, there was not much else that I could expect from the degree as a whole. So if I were to give you a yes or no answer, no. There's a lot that goes into it. It's cool. It's really cool. We just go more in depth than I had kind of slightly anticipated. What did you love most about your course during first year? Ooh, to give you some background info. Okay. To give you some background information, so the classes I took during first year were visual storytelling. Why is this too detailed? I've said this in videos before, so it doesn't matter. I feel odd sometimes sharing this kind of information because I feel like it's gonna bore people, and it's like very like into what I'm studying, you know, like more than you need to know, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. Classes that I took: visual storytelling, image creation, FEPA, an art class essentially, and psychology. So visual storytelling and image creation are film classes. FEPA form part of my course, I guess, and psychology was my elective. Representation was always evident in some sort of way. That word would find its way through our lectures, through the coursework that we were doing, and all of that. Literally one of our topics was representation. Like we would hear representation all the time. But I love that part of the art so much, like deciphering the meanings behind things like music, art, the films, things like that. That's the thing I liked about my course during first year. I liked that concept of it all. Even though it was a lot of work, I liked that part of it. How was it doing your course online? I was at university from like the end of Jan through to maybe the beginning of March, I think. And then we had to move, pack up and just leave. Like all of that ended, that whole experience that we were just getting a taste of, a sniff of, was gone. I'm not bitter. Yeah, that obviously changed the dynamic of things, because now you are like in the space where you are most relaxed, and now you're expected to work 24/7 in that space. You understand? I thought it was gonna be okay. I genuinely thought everything was gonna be fine. I'm a homebody. I said this to myself. I'm a homebody. I'm used to this life. This is my normal, regular life. And then things got real, and then workloads just started feeling insane. Everything felt forced. I was getting angry at some point. At some days I'd get angry. I'd be like, you're only doing this because we're at home. You think we have nothing better to do. So chaotic. Like, this pandemic did so much. At some stage we got used to it, but it didn't take away that it was a huge strain. How did you manage to balance your social life, school and YouTube? Between those three things, I've never, so far I've never been able to find a balance. There was always one that was here, one was here, and the other was like here. You pick and choose. You need to choose your fights. You need to choose who you're gonna focus on this week. We make it work. I don't know how, but I make it work for myself, and I'm proud of myself. 5 tips for first-year students. It's probably going to be very basic and generic, because everyone's experience and everyone's journey or starting out, the whole thing is very different. My first one would be open to the newness of it all. So because everything is new and may feel strange and odd and awkward and scary, it's okay. Just let it happen and let new things happen. Just because something is new doesn't mean it's bad. Just be open to adjusting and change. Second, it is completely okay to feel strange about things in the beginning, and that relates to what I was just saying right now. Like, everything is gonna be brand new and may feel weird and strange, maybe lonely sometimes. That is okay. And I think I mentioned it while I was talking or rambling off to you guys. I used to beat myself up over the fact that I felt sad or alone, or I don't know, bothered about something. That is completely okay. It's part of the process. Even the good ones. What am I saying? Excitement is good. All of that is good. Whatever you feel is good and is valid and necessary. It's okay to take your time with adjusting. 3, remember why you are there. Remember why you're at varsity. Remember what your main focus is to do there. But also obviously experiment, the whole shebang. And lastly, ask for help when you need it. Do not be shy. Do not block people out. Do not be quiet. Do not struggle in silence. There are people out there that can help you. There are people out there that are willing to listen. Yeah guys, that is it for me in terms of talking about my first year experience. I'm now going into my second year. Don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna take it as it comes, one day at a time. I want to thank you guys for being here and listening to me talk on and on about like school. Sorry. I just appreciate you guys being here, and I appreciate you participating whenever I do these type of things. Your questions were amazing. I loved reading them. Like, every time I would read a question, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. If you did enjoy it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe down below. It's free. What's on your back? Social media links are down below, so check those out if you want, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.